We are on the approach trail just off High Shoals Road. This is where I'm gonna start my hike, heading up the Springer, see up the mountain. It is 11 o'clock, March 2nd, on the approach trail to Springer Mountain. This is some of the trail I got to traverse, probably the worst part I've been on so far. Everything's been going good. Very, very windy today. Not too bad right here, but in the distance you can hear the roar of the wind going across the top of the mountain. So we're on our way up the Springer. Well, I'm out on the Appalachian Trail, the approach trail. It's been quite an experience so far. Last night after we got done eating, we went back to our room and laid there, watched TV for a little bit, and around 8:30 I was feeling sleepy, so I thought I'd, turn in. I had some iced tea for supper, but with all the excitement of getting on the trail and whatnot, I just couldn't get to sleep, and I was probably awake until 11:20. Finally fell asleep. And then my wife decided to have one for bad dreams. Around 1:30, she starts yelling, wakes me up. Meanwhile, the wind outside is howling, and you can hear that going by our window. So I'm sure, like a lot of hikers getting out here on the first day jitters and whatnot, it was just not a good night's sleep. But the weather's beautiful, it's cool, it's in the 40s. I saw one guy in shorts coming down the trail a while ago, and two female day hikers just passed me a little bit ago. So as I was walking the trail this morning, I was just feeling in a spirit of gratitude. Gratitude that our God, our Creator, has provided all this beautiful outdoor area for us and for the hundreds of volunteers that are out there maintaining the trail, for all the other thru hikers I'll be meeting on my journey. Being grateful for having good health and the financial resources to do this trip, and most of all the love and support of my wife, without whose support I'm sure this adventure would not be happening. So as you can imagine, it was a little hard saying goodbye today. But she's on her way to my sister's in South Carolina, about 4 hours drive. She'll meet up with her, and they'll be visiting family, going up to the Wake Forest, North Carolina area to visit more family. So that's kind of it. As an update from the trail, I still got Springer Mountain to climb, and we'll go from there. thanks for following along on my first day. We reached the summit around 12:30, and all of a sudden there's a crowd of people. Can't believe it. People everywhere. It's signed in on the logbook. Getting a picture of a tourist. Still windy as anything out here. That's the first blaze on the trail. And that's the path. We got about a quarter mile to go to get up to Springer Mountain. Well, we bypassed the Springer Mountain shelter today. And we're just continuing on down the trail. It's around 2 o'clock. Feeling pretty good. Coming up to a shelter here shortly. But I may just keep going for a while. I'll check in with you later. Well, we're coming to the next little crossing. This one's going to be a little tricky, but I think we can do it. Not the first log I ever crossed. Going back up. Well, let's see what's around the corner. We're at Three Forks right now. Another 3 miles to Hawk Mountain Shelter. We're going to stop there for the night. It is 4 in the afternoon, heading to Hawk Mountain Shelter, which might be 1.5 miles away. I wanted to take you down here to the waterfalls so you could get a look at that. That's why most people hike up here, is to get a look at the falls. Up above me at higher elevation is the Benton Mackaye trail. Isn't that gorgeous? Alright, well, we're going to head back up. This is only a couple hundred steps off the main trail. Day 1 made it to Hawk Mountain Shelter. About 14.1 miles. And right now working on supper before it gets too dark out. Here's what we're having tonight. Rice sides and some tuna. Well, good morning. We are at Horse Gap, elevation about 2,660 feet. Heading up this mountain. And once we're up there, I think we have a lot of just tops to go across. It's been a lot of up and downs so far this morning of 200 to 500 feet. I didn't have much of an appetite last night. Only ate half of my supper, bagged that up, and probably have that tonight. And I wasn't very hungry this morning either. I only had one bag of oatmeal instead of two. So that's kind of the way it is for a lot of people. You lose your appetite out here because of the new strenuous activity you're undertaking. Hoping to get the Gooch Gap today. That's about 8 miles from Hawk Mountain Shelter. So we have a pretty good climb ahead of us. So let's get started. I wanted to show you what part of the ascent coming up here looks like. Got the sun to my back now. I think this is the switchback part of the trail. And that's where I came from, across that ridge top. So let's keep climbing. I've reached Cooper Gap at elevation 2810. Still got another mountain to climb, 20 after 11. Snacking on nuts on the trail. Gotta keep on moving. Nice little resupply for water along the way, and it's ice cold. It is 12:15. I've not stopped for a lunch break yet. I'm probably within 2 miles of Gooch Gap Shelter. But this is what they refer to as the Green Tunnel. This is very old rhododendron. Up until, let's say 11:30, it's been pretty windy out, a little breezy, but the wind advisory is not in effect today. And around noontime, with these bright blue skies, the wind suddenly died down to just a gentle breeze. Sometimes it's calm. And then it starts feeling hot outside. I can hear a little brook running down below me to my right. So we're gonna get to Gooch Gap Shelter, see who might be staying there, and decide if we're going to keep moving on or call it quits after 8 miles. Now still heading toward Gooch Gap Shelter. And this is what we got to do. Piece of cake. I've reached Gooch Mountain Shelter, elevation 2720, and it is 1:30. I still got a little more pep in my legs, but I'm thinking of just resting here today. So I'm going to stock up on water And there's some friends here. We'll have you meet shortly. So just to give you an idea what the plan is, last night I was at Hawk Mountain, hiked here to the Gooch Mountain Shelter, and then if we look at tomorrow, we'll probably want to stop at Lance Creek, which has camping and a water supply, because beyond that you get into the Bear Canister area, crossing Blood Mountain, Woods Hole. So if we stop at Lance Creek, then what we'll have is Blood Mountain to do, which will be a big day, but that'll bring us down then to Neal Gap on day 4. Alright, well, last night at Hawk Mountain I ran into these folks but didn't get a chance to talk to them, and tonight we are at Gooch Mountain Shelter and we are going to talk to them a little bit. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. I know I've seen you on YouTube.
I'm Rob. I'm Trish.
You're Trish.
I'm tired.
I'm Rob, and we're the Average Campers. We have a YouTube channel called Average Campers Adventures, and we've been doing just different vlogging for, I don't know, since 2014, so quite a few years, both RV and now also backpacking.
And this year you're starting the AT?
Yes.
As a couple? That's so cool.
Yes. Yeah, there's not a lot that do it as a couple. There's been a few. Quite,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a decent amount, but
Yeah.
not as many as you would think. I can't imagine
No, logistically,
leaving him behind or him leaving me behind.
logistically, it's hard. You know,
So you
for
got
2 people.
started with 3 days ago in the rain,
2 days of rain.
and you had to dry out.
Yeah.
So you haven't got that many miles under your hat
too
so
many.
far. But you're from Florida, so you're not used to the colder weather we have up here,
Or the hills.
or the hills.
We actually had to spend some time in Georgia and Tennessee just to get acclimated to the weather and to some of the, you know, doing some mountain hiking and so forth, just to be prepared. You can train in Florida, but it's all flat.
Yep.
And hot.
And warm all the time.
Yep. Yep. All right, well, tomorrow we are going to be hiking about 1.5 miles, we're told, to Gooch Gap.
Yeah. Trail magic.
Our first trail magic.
And we just
Actually,
got some tonight.
our second trail magic.
Second.
Yeah, it's a wonderful trail magic.
Because we had some
tonight from
folks
this young
over
lady.
here
These beautiful people.
who brought us some ice in a bag, and some cookies.
Wow.
And some juice boxes.
Oh, cool. All right, so thank you for your time.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
See you on down the trail.
You got it.
Absolutely.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is Sunday the 4th. There is another blue sky day and no wind. It got a little chilly last night at the shelter. We heard some mice scurrying around. We stayed at Gooch Shelter, and right now we're heading to Gooch Gap, which is 1.5 miles away. Started the hike at 8:20, and we had a guy come in last evening, brought the first trail magic, which was cookies, and he told us about trail magic that's supposed to be up ahead, somebody cooking breakfast. And this morning, I know a lot of people left early just without eating, figuring going up there and catching a bite to eat, but I had a bag of oatmeal and some coffee because I have all these extra supplies I'm carrying anyway, so I might as well use them. Right now the temperatures feel pretty mild. I just have this light nylon shirt and some insulated polypro as my base layer, and that's it. Yesterday I unzipped the legs from my pants because it got probably close to 60. It's been a great day. Mice were carrying on in the shelter last night, but nobody had any damage to their packs because we stored all of our food in the bear box. But my eyes keep watering out here, which makes it hard to see. Today we're thinking of doing either 8 or 10 miles to the last tent sites before we head up Blood Mountain. Blood Mountain area requires, it's called bear canisters. I did want to mention, for those of you who are still planning to do the AT hike, there are some parts of the Georgia Trail that we've all come across so far that are not well marked. So if you come to a fork in the road and the trail, look for a bunch of logs that have been laid down across one of the trails. That's kind of a sign that that's a barrier. You should not cross it, but take a turn and go up the other trail. Earlier in the video there was a shot of the falls. Now the trail that goes up the mountain beside the falls might have 2 blazes on it. At the top, Benton Mackaye trail comes in from the right, but it's hard to see really. But when you're hiking up this trail, and it's the width of a road basically, you'll see white diamonds occasionally painted on a tree. That just tells you you're on the right trail. That is the AT trail. So just a heads up for some of you who have not started yet. So once we get down to the gap, we'll see what's going on. Catch you later. So here we are coming into Gooch Gap with the trail magic. See some of our hikers here from last night. Morning.
Hey, morning. I don't think I'm getting 20 miles.
By Virginia, everybody is able to do 22, 25.
Really?
Yeah. That's just normal. Morning.
All right.
Just ask that you start with hand sanitizer.
Okay, please.
Have a great one. Have a good hike. Good luck on the PCT.
All right, well, we have MacGyver here who was a thru hiker in what, 2016?
15.
15?
Yep.
Out here today doing trail magic at Gooch Gap. How many people do you think you're feeding this morning?
Well, this morning, God, it's hard to keep track, but I take 120 servings out.
Wow.
So, and I'm running pretty low.
And when did you start doing this?
Yesterday at dawn.
That was your first day out here?
That was my first day, yeah.
So you're waiting for the bubble to come through?
Oh no, I can't afford the bubble. Can't afford it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your trail magic.
Absolutely.
And have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, since we left our Gooch Gap trail magic, we've been climbing the hills. But we have a great view today and no wind. And here's the view from the top of the 3rd mountain ridge I've climbed today. Well, it's 11:45 and we made it to Woody Gap, and we're talking to some folks there up on the hill. Had our second trail magic for the day. And now we're off on our northbound travels. Well, day 3, Rvrguyd Gap. I'm the only one here, but it's all good. Making supper. Got an hour or so before sun goes down. Got some line strung for a bear bag. So looking for a good night's rest with no mice. 6:20, the sun's about to set. I've had my supper. I am camping by myself this evening. There's been a group that went ahead and camped up at the next shelter where you're not supposed to be unless you have a bear canister. None of them do, so they're taking their chances. I only saw one female hiker pass by here in the past hour, 15 minutes. So I'm assuming she's going to the same shelter. So tonight I'm just enjoying the fire after supper. Should be a very calm, quiet night. There's no wind. It's a blue sky, so it's going to get chilly again tonight, I'm sure. But today was beautiful. It was about 80 degrees. Very much like a late spring. Tomorrow is Blood Mountain. It's going to be about a 1,300-foot climb. Once I'm over the top of Blood Mountain, we'll descend down to Neal's Gap, and that's where I have my first resupply. And I've got a lot more food than what I need, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. So let's see what tomorrow brings. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday the 5th, day 4 into the hike. To the left is Blood Mountain, which we'll be climbing this morning. Nobody ever came into camp last night, so I slept by myself. It was very quiet. Coming up the trail this morning, I saw some poop on the trail, which looked like it was from a coyote, but I didn't hear any howling last night. So immediately after leaving our campsite, we had a nice short climb up to the top of this ridge. Now we're going to be descending down into another gap where some of the other hikers yesterday stopped and camped. So we'll catch you in a bit. About the 9:45, still climbing Blood Mountain. It's been a uphill climb the whole way. A lot of steps to do. This is the first section of this like sheer rock to go up. You see a lot of scratches here from trekking poles. I don't know if I've reached a false summit yet. That could be like a campsite. Been going good so far. Sun's out. A little breezier. A few more clouds. Keep trekking upward. It is 10 o'clock, and you know, here we are at the Blood Mountain shelter. The old shelter on the AT. Yeah.
Honestly, we don't have one. Yeah. I don't think anyone was gonna get a bear canopy for 5 miles.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that hike being so bad. Really, I didn't think it was bad at all. Doing good. You're not trying to burn the cabin down, obviously.
Not tonight, no. Maybe tomorrow night. Came in with a cold, so got a bunch of tissues and burning them as I go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now let's go up here and see if we can get a view. This would be better if I didn't have my pack on. Okay. There we are on top of Blood Mountain. A little bit of a breeze. Inside the shelter, look up there, you can see some old hand-hewn beams. A lot of people stayed in this building, I'm sure. I think maybe we got some emergency provisions here. And here we have the logbook. And there I am. Well, we passed by the side of the building as we crest the top of the hill. We'll be heading down the Neal Gap. It'd be time for one last view. And we have a USGS Geological Survey right on top for Blood Mountain. It says 1975. Not as good of a view up here. We're about to head back down Blood Mountain. Just show you a little bit of the area. In back of me up that way is the Blood Mountain shelter. And in back is my view today. Pretty nice, huh? All right, well, let's get started down the Neal and see what's in store for us. It is 11:15 on day 4, arriving at Neal Gap. A lot of people already here in the way of hikers. There's like a group of 5 right in front of me. There's one in back of me. So it could be a busy place tonight. Thanks for following along on my trip. I will say this, if you're going to hike this section, please train. It's going to pay off big dividends. And be careful you don't get run over on the street. All right. Till later.